When we look at this truth of life and we look at what it takes in order to thrive, what we understand is that if we're out of balance, out of tune with our true nature, and we don't understand the laws of nature that govern our life, then we become imbalanced. Disconnection from the flow of life, from the flow of life force, from the flow of our energy, that is the setup for disharmony and disease.
Disease in Ayurveda is defined as imbalance in our doshas. The imbalance is caused with extraneous factors and intrinsic factors. There could be imbalances because of our genetic composition, our genetic tendencies that can be triggered because of how we live, what we put in our body.
When people feel stuck in their lives, in their bodies, on any of these layers of the self, Ayurveda describes this stuck physical matter in the digestive tract as ama. Ama is the product of anything that's undigested. It is gunk factor that accumulates on any of the layers of the self.
Ayurveda also has this wonderful knowledge of digestion. And so understanding digestion doesn't just apply to food. It applies to emotion. It applies to everything that we take in through the senses. All of life gets metabolized. And if we're able to do that efficiently, if we're able to do that thoroughly, then we have vibrancy. If not, then we have stress. The ancient sages understood that consciousness comes out of this underlying unified field in different frequencies. And they had this concept of blockages, the free flow of that intelligence and that energy. If it gets blocked, that is what we call ama in Ayurveda. The blockages can be on any level, from the spiritual to the mental blocks, to the emotional blocks, energetic blocks, to the physical blocks. And those will affect, ultimately, that perfect expression of our physiology that we were designed to be manifesting. So ama are those blockages that will get in the way of us manifesting that perfect physiology, that perfect wholeness into our life.
So we can talk about ama, which will be undigested food in the digestive tract. It travels throughout the body on the bloodstream. It gets lodged in places in the body, and it creates chronic illness and chronic pain.
The first stage of the disease is accumulation of toxins. That will increase, vitiate, we call it vitiation, and then it flows into the areas of your body where you have the weakest links. And once it flows to those areas, there is stagnation, and then there is manifestation of a disease.
The doshas, from an Ayurvedic perspective, we look at them in terms of 5 elementals, right? And it's when they become imbalanced, they like to find weakened tissues and take up residence. And that's where we'll see a physical symptom come about inside the body. Too much water element, we'll see edema, swelling. Too much earth element, we'll see blockage, not enough flow, and the creation of a growth, like a cyst, a tumor, or cancer.
Likewise, we can also have undigested emotion, and that will cause us a lot of pain as we repress those emotions, we don't deal with those emotions. We can have undigested stress, we can have undigested thought. So while we want to take measures to strengthen our physical digestion, we also want to take measures to strengthen emotional digestion and mental digestion. So this is why meditation is such a key aspect to Ayurveda as a holistic science.
So in what way does diet, yoga, and meditation help to take care of this thing in Ayurveda we call ama? A lot of ama, or blockage in the flow, begins energetically. So if we're fine-tuning with yogic and meditation techniques, our inner core frequency, meaning our nervous system and the state of the mind, being able to shed and release emotions that we don't need to carry on, that are not beneficial for us. And then tune in with proper diet. These three things very much so help to regulate ama production in the body and proper disposal of it. One of the beautiful things of just doing simple sun salutations is that it squeezes every muscle in your entire body, which squeezes and moves the lymphatic system inside the body. We have this beautiful heart inside of us, which pulses, and with each pulse, blood gets driven throughout the entire body. But the lymphatic system is something that needs to be squeezed and pumped.
And so on the level of meditation, which in Ayurvedic terms is connecting directly to source, it is something that allows us to release a lot of the egoic patterning that can serve as frequent triggers for stressful reactions. And so that direct connection to source creates for us this thing that we call ojas. Ojas is that liveliness, that glow of health that comes when we have that connection, when we're strongly connected to our life force and to our source. So ultimately, ojas is an expression that comes to the physiology from the highest level of our existence. So we have then really three imperatives for health. Our connection to source has to be strong. There has to be no blockages. And we have to have balance in terms of how that energy expresses itself in the physiology.
So in our innermost self, the self that is most connected and closest to consciousness is our body of bliss. And this is really the closest to our true self. And for us to be truly healthy, truly well in a holistic way, the light that is consciousness shines through all of these layers of ourselves, through our bliss body, through our karmic body, through our mental perceptive body, through our energetic body, and into our physical body. The state of bliss is a state of truth. It's not just an overlayering of false positivity or grasping of happiness. It's when experience and emotion and food is all metabolized and digested. And the product of that digestion on all the layers of the self is this deep state of consciousness, of alignment, of truth, and of, we could say, light shining through an individual.
From an Ayurvedic perspective, feeling vital health inside your body in balance, what does that look like? Waking up and feeling energetic and not sluggish in the morning. That's a big piece. Being able to step into your day, feeling grounded into your body and not in an anxious place, feeling really positive inside yourself. Your energetics throughout the day ideally are sustained, and your mental state is in a beautiful place, not too focused on negative thought patterns and being more in service to the world.
Vitality in Ayurveda is called prana. So when we are depleted in our vitality, we just cannot function properly. We experience symptoms like fatigue, lack of energy, and just not motivated to do anything. And the way in Ayurveda is to boost our vitality or our prana. We can do that by getting the right amount of sleep every day and by eating healthy foods. And also by being in sync with the nature. That's very important. Waking up early morning and meditating. As soon as we get out of our bed, we actually salute Mother Earth. And then, we cleanse ourselves. And when we cleanse ourselves, we appreciate who we are and we also appreciate the divine within us.
One of the things that we encourage patients and clients to do is to use their intuition, be able to become sensitive to what it is that's happening within the physiology. So it's one thing to have general guidelines, it's another thing to have that consciousness.
Right from childhood, we are all nothing but conditioned beings. So it is how we want to condition ourselves. Do we want to be conditioned to chaos that's going to create imbalance? Or do we want to be conditioned to being with the rhythm of nature and in harmony with our body and mind? That is the question that we need to ask ourselves. And when we do that, it's okay to take time. And this is lunchtime. It is my personal time with my food, which is going to help me increase my vitality and fill me up with this energy that I need to perform. You're going to be very effective in whatever you do if you increase your vitality. And to also focus on your breath. Sometimes we are put in situations that we have to work hard these days and we have to overwork ourselves. Watch how you're breathing. You will notice when you're going through these type of emotions, your breath becomes shallow and the types of thoughts you're engaged in. Take a break the circuit, create that space between you and your thoughts and anchor yourself with your breath. When you do that every day for about even 10 minutes, there is a big difference. If you have to go to work, you cannot find time, sit in your car in the parking lot and do it. You will be only with yourself there. Before you go to work, if you have to face a stressful day, or if you have to face that boss who you don't like, get into that quiet space first. Before you go, you're going to feel a whole lot better. How can you run a car without gas, right? So vitality is nothing but the gas, the energy, the battery that we need to charge to function the way we need to function optimally and produce real good effects.
This is why consciousness in its development is so fundamental in Ayurveda. With that enhanced awareness, we can listen to the intelligence of the body and know what qualities it is calling for, what diet it needs, and therefore empower ourselves with a diet that is truly uniquely ours.
When it comes to food and accessing more radiance, more prana, more vitality, more life energy, we often say that the consciousness of the cook is the most important ingredient. Of course, beyond that, we want to eat consciously because that allows us to digest food, and digested food will create more liveliness, more vitality in the body.
So the idea is to choose foods and lifestyle activities that align you with your natural constitution. And if we live by these rules, usually we don't stray too much to be creating an excess amount of ama in the body.
When your vitality is high, you're energized. You're really high, motivated, happy, joyful, positive, healthy, and you flow. You flow, nothing is an obstacle. You're not stressed. That is why it becomes very important for us to know our constitution and to keep it in balance. Our body is like a temple, and how you want to treat that is up to us.